abaculi mntakamama. They can sing. This is the best choir. Actually, they came number 1 to the competition. 2019, just before the COVID, we had a competition to all senior citizens in Western Cape. And the theme was about Uloliwe song, and they can compose any song about health, And this choir, wow, look at it.
Yeah, they absolutely. I love the energy, hey?
And
It's
look at
really,
the traditional clothes that they
know,
are wearing.
beautiful.
Look at the conductor. She is so enthusiastic. Look at them. Look at them.
Yes,
Wow,
yes.
the smile. Uloliwe.
Uloliwe.
Oh, I love them. They came first.
Yeah, welcome
With beautiful
CTV viewers.
prizes.
Yes,
Yeah.
let's welcome our viewers. Now we can't have this party all on our own. Welcome CTV viewers back to Old is Gold on this Heritage Day, where we as senior citizens know that we are the custodians of heritage in our country. And this is a day for us particularly to celebrate because as custodians of heritage, if we are not careful, our younger children will just grow up in this high-tech generation and not understand the values and the importance of the values that we learned as
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
precisely, yeah.
Exactly. And you know, Joan, talking about that, we used to enjoy the stories that our parents used to tell us. Yo, and sometimes you think, man, this story doesn't make sense, but you enjoy it
Because of the drama.
and we never used to go to the theaters. We didn't even know what is a theater those days. So the theater was with them,
Theater happened at home when they told those stories.
And
even when we knew they were lying, we just enjoyed it.
And we enjoyed those
Sybil,
days.
my mom passed away last year, and we have done nothing to pack away her clothes or give it away. We know that there are other people there who could make use of all her gorgeous costumes, and so how the senior people used to dress. Oh, we've got some pictures of my mom looking so smart. But in any case, because she died during COVID times, and we couldn't have the proper funeral and so on, it's like we can't bear to give away things yet. So on my way here this morning, I went in because I was looking for doilies.
Yes.
Can you remember the doily things? Before we hated it, and now that my mom has passed, it's such a treasure.
I'm even acknowledging the teapot. Wow.
There was always that cabinet that you
Yes.
couldn't touch.
And it was only for VIPs like pastors, from our church. When they come from church for lunch, they can only drink from those cups. Your mom will shout, no, don't you know this is for the VIPs, my pastors and the congregation from my own church?
Yeah.
So, this...
And can you remember
this
the
is
jewelry?
antique.
There was always this little thing with jewelry in. And I'm sure it was nothing of value, but it was this special, little treasure.
And it's actually antique, These days...
I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah, it was antique. Those days they used to wear beautiful jewelry, and you will think it's even the quality of the clothes.
Yeah. But you know what we're missing in society today is that people with the technology and everybody on their cell phones. I even saw a mother walking a child in the pram. She's walking with the cell. I mean, how ridiculous is that?
And
no
Joan,
engagement with each other
but
anymore.
Joan, this cell phone story,
It's just, there goes my cat, this cat I bought at a second-hand shop.
Oh, beautiful.
And every time we move, and we move a lot, my husband wants to throw it away, and I'm saying I'll divorce you before I throw my cavity away.
Be still.
Yeah, so that is how our parents, they taught us to value simple things.
Yeah.
And I wish that we could just learn those values again.
Yeah.
Heritage is very important.
Oh, it is.
And we cannot give up those solid traditions and values that we were taught as children. And it's just wonderful that we now have a special Heritage Day to celebrate, and we hope that our viewers are going to celebrate that too. So Oldies Gold is here to teach and celebrate heritage, and we hope that our viewers are going to be celebrating along with us.
And I know they are going to do it. Old is
Gold.
gold.
Oh, that's goud in Afrikaans. What do you say in Xhosa?
Igolide nexabiso.
There you go.
Umakhwekhwetha wegolide. Away.
We'll be back after the short break. Welcome back to Oldies Gold, CTV viewers, on this our Heritage Day show. And today we have a very, very interesting guest with us, June Orsmond, and we're going to be interviewing her for this segment. My colleague Sybil will be joining us later. As a granny, she got an urgent call to just do some family matter quickly. You know how it goes when you're a granny. You're all over the show. So welcome back. We hope that you're going to enjoy this segment with our guest, June Orsmond. Hi June, welcome to our show. I'm so impressed with you and the work that you've done. So why don't you tell our viewers how old you are and how long you've been in retirement and how you prepared for this big word called retirement. So just chat to us about that for a moment.
I'm 84 years old. Sometimes I think I feel a lot younger, and I must admit there are days when I feel a lot older. But I come from Uitenhage in the Eastern Cape, where I met and married my husband, Guy. We've been married for 61 years. And we have 4 children and 9 grandchildren. The last year, 2-3 years have been pretty tough for me because Guy was diagnosed with dementia. And this is now, and you know, it's something you can't get away from. It's an escalating problem. And one wants to do the best you can for the person you've been with for 61 years.
Of course, you spoke earlier about curved balls that life throws at us sometimes, so that really is a curved ball.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you were saying.
I'm saying you were earlier in our chat before we went live, you spoke about the curved balls that life can throw at one sometimes. So that's certainly, guys, dementia is certainly a curved ball.
It's a huge curved ball.
And that's why, June, and that's why it is so remarkable what you've done in your work at Lavender Hill High School, which is a high school in a typical, Cape Flat setting with all the challenges involved. Can you tell us about your involvement with Lavender Hill High?
Well, it was an incredible. Lavender Hill High School for me was an incredible journey. I try and look at my life in decades. So in the 50s, we lived in George. I was active in mountaineering and climbing, and I got involved then with Rotary, and it started a deep interest in, in I suppose a humanitarian interest, perhaps, working for others, thinking about the conditions that people live in. And then in the 60s, we moved to Kai here in Cape Town, and we started a guest house. And it was there and then we got involved again with Rotary. And it was then that I discovered Lavender Hill High School, because we had got involved in introducing an adult literacy training program there. And I stood there at that high school one day and I thought, this can't be true. This just can't be true. How is it possible that our society, our thinking people can allow 1,000 of our young people to be brought up in a situation like this? It's just not true.
I can so identify, June, I can so identify with that, because I used to teach on high schools, at high schools on the Cape Flats, and there were times when your first assembly was 1,300 children. And as a teacher, you would stand there and just look across a sea of faces. So I know exactly what you're talking about. But your experiences there have led you to writing a book. And that is amazing. Please tell us about the book that you wrote.
Well, the first, getting I started getting, sorry, I'm stuttering. But when I got to Lavender Hill School, that was sort of 2000. And slowly, I got more involved in the school. And then I ended up in 2005, 2006, project managing the building of 2 playing fields at the school and running what we call the YES project. So YES stands for Youth Empowerment Through School. And it was then that I started learning and understanding. And I'm actually ashamed to admit that I had no idea up until then what the damages of apartheid were. And then the other thing that, of course, that I discovered at Lavender Hill was the terrible damage of addiction. So you have these twin problems, twin tyrannies, apartheid and addiction. And this has brought these communities right down. And I just learned so much. I mean, it was just incredible. I call it my 90-degree learning curve. Yeah. As I learned to understand, get to know the people, get to understand, everything. And then I was there for, until I retired in 2014. And then after that, my husband and I went trekking off with a caravan for a year. And it's then that my eyes started opening even more, as I saw the need for intervention throughout the country, all over the place, right up next to the Kruger Park, for example, we counted 40 kilometers one day of housing, of people living there. And you have to ask, where on earth are these people working? What's going on with this economy? Yeah. And it was while we were traveling that I then started thinking about this more deeply and started writing my book. Yes. And realized.
Sorry to interrupt. June, you said that COVID actually helped you with, just knuckling down and get COVID. COVID helped you knuckle down and it gave you the time to actually.
It helped me. Yes, it did. Because, so we were all sitting at home last year for the whole of last year. And the book had reached a stage where it was ready for editing and ready for printing. But so sitting at home, being forced to be at home with COVID was probably one of the best things that COVID did for me anyway, was to knuckle down and finalize the writing of the book.
Yes. So why don't you show us, I saw you had a copy of the book on your desk. Why don't you just show us? Yes. We are going to put it on screen as well, but just show us what the book looks like and the launch. We need to wrap up now, so let's just see what the book looks like and your launch experience. How exciting it was with Jonathan Jansen as well, which must have been really nice.
I don't know if you can see that. Yes, it looks back to front to me.
Yes,
that's the book.
Yes.
Listen. Okay, and there were 2 launches, which was quite incredible. I self-published, which in retrospect is perhaps not such a good idea, because if you had a proper, regular publisher, they would have done the marketing. But instead, I've got to try and do the marketing myself, which is a huge challenge. But Professor Jansen was the patron of our YES project at Lavender Hill High School. And then I wrote the book and he did a foreword for me. And in the foreword, and I mean, he was just marvelous. I've just got such respect for Professor Jansen. And we had, as I say, we had 2 launches. We had one at Lavender Hill High School in October. And it was very interesting. And then another in December here at Evergreen. Both launches were really interesting because we did a combination of physical launch and Zoom. So we had an international audience on the wall, as I call it.
Yes.
And I had my nephew and family from Australia, and my son from Portugal, my daughter from England, and then of course Prof himself was also on the wall because he has comorbidities and he didn't want to come and expose himself in live.
We all had to learn those lessons.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So June, at 84 years old, you got involved in humanitarian work. You published a book on lessons learned, and I guess it opens up a whole new journey for you, even with the challenges that you have. So because it's Heritage Day today, don't you want to just share one or two of the most enduring values that you have learned from parents and grandparents that somehow have gotten lost today?
Values. Wow.
The enduring values that
I can tell
come
you.
from generations, part of our legacy and our heritage.
Sorry, Joan, what did you say?
I'm talking about those enduring values that we learned as children from older people who don't live in this high-tech world that young people grow up in today.
Well, look, I can tell you what I wrote here about you asked me a question about what have you learned over the years, what advice do you have for people who are approaching retirement. So if I may, I'm going to tell you what I wrote in answer to that. So I said, keep active. Now, this is really talking to people in general. Keep active physically and mentally. Pamper your humanitarian self. Spend time and thought on empowering fellow humans. Drown yourself in the beauties of fynbos and the colors of the seasons. And then, as almost a flippant thing, but it's so true, keep a dog because it forces you to walk.
Or a cat.
Yeah, and it's or a cat. But you don't usually take cats for walks.
No.
It forces you to walk, and it's just so good. And when life is trying, and to have that unconditional love that you can get from a pet.
Yes.
When old age pitches curved balls at you.
Yes. June, it's been so wonderful to listen to you and to hear your story and the gift that you're leaving behind in those lessons learned, and the opportunity to share it with other people and become part of our heritage as a community of South Africans, where we look at each other through the boxes and through the legacy of the past, and start working together to create a better future for young people. And that's the best heritage that we can give our children, our grandchildren, and our young people, that we contribute and continually give towards building legacy and heritage for future generations. Thank you so much for spending the time with us. We would like to have chatted to you a lot more, but time is always of the essence, and we may come back to you again in a future series. So best wishes to you and Guy with his health in particular, and resilience and endurance, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Are you going to promote the book for me?
Yes, absolutely. We'll put it on screen,
Okay,
and we'll
my
also
phone number and my email address.
Yes, and we will promote it on social media as well. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Joan.
So there, listeners, that was June Orsmond. What a legacy, what a heritage. And we will be back later with another story, but this time from a rural environment. We know that from our parents and grandparents, we learned so much value in how to treat common. We didn't run to the doctor for everything. Our parents always had a solution that seemed to work. So going to be looking into that part of our heritage as well. We hope that you will join us for that segment as well. Thank you. So that's our show for today, our special Heritage Day celebration. We hope that you enjoyed it. And I would just like to tell families and children, allow your grandparents to tell their stories. You learn so much from them, and it keeps us integrated and connected across the generations. So happy storytelling.
We enjoy the choir. Wow, when you kumbumbela. That's the theme. Siyabuya qhude manikiniki. Siyabuya kwakhona. Lihlale nimamele kunye nathi sizaniphathela mo kukhulu okuzayo.
Wonderful. You can catch us on channel 263 DSTV, the People's Channel CTV, but you can also catch us on YouTube. We hope that you enjoy the rest of your Heritage Day.